Hi guys, Vino here, and I think it's time for a cuppa. That's a damn fine mocha. Nescafe Avio Peppermint Mocha. They're actually bloody lovely. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you're doing really, really well. I'm doing pretty damn fantastic. Thank you very much. Before I get into the main part of this video, I do have a little bit of an unboxing, unpackaging, if you will, to do, and a little bit of a DVD and 4K / Blu-ray updates. The first thing I'm going to be showing off is this. I've simply just pulled off the rip tab, so to speak, just to see what's inside this. But me and Luke, very good friend of mine, I do speak about him quite often on this YouTube channel, really good friend of mine. I've known him for like 10 plus years now, like 15 years or something I've known him. And we were speaking a couple of weeks ago on PlayStation Network, on a PlayStation party while we were gaming, that Michelle Trachtenberg unfortunately passed away a few weeks ago. And I mentioned I haven't seen a particular movie that she's in. Well, Luke went ahead and purchased me a copy of that movie. So let's dip into this package and see what that movie is, shall we? And it is Euro Trip. So yes, I've never seen Euro Trip, so Luke thought he would buy me a copy of Euro Trip, and Michelle Trachtenberg was actually 18 in this movie, which is wild to think about all these years later. I know about the film, obviously, I know about its impact on all that kind of stuff, but I've never actually seen the movie myself. But there it is, Euro Trip. Shall we uncellophane it on camera? Why not? Do a good old uncellophaning. It's been a while since I think I've uncellophaned a DVD, of all things. I do have with me a trusty Westcott knife. There we go. So we can get it started. I'm going to be ever so careful when I do this because I don't want to damage it. Start ripping off the front. That's a bit of a joke for Luke there. Luke understands what I mean by that joke. And for the rest of you, Luke was looking up some Buffy stuff because, of course, Michelle Trachtenberg was Dawn and the Buffy series. And he saw somebody doing an uncellophaning or unpackaging of the Buffy Season 8 motion comic. So for those who don't know, Buffy ran for 7 seasons, and I think it was Dark Horse Comics did a Season 8 comic series that eventually made its way into a motion comic. There is a Blu-ray out, but I think it's American exclusive. Anyway, there's an American unpackaging that said Blu-ray and just basically rips off the front of the packaging, which seems a bit odd to me. But anyway, I've uncellophaned it, and you ready for this? Actually smells a little bit musty. I was hoping for that nice, fresh, new DVD smell. But no, it actually smells a little bit musty, which is probably not a surprise, given this was probably 2006 is the date on this. So this has probably been in that cellophane for almost 20 years at this point, so no wonder it smells a little bit musty. But there you go, Euro Trip on DVD, and I'll probably be watching it this weekend. So there we go. So last weekend I popped down to my local CX, or one of my local CXs, to actually pick up a watch charger for my smartwatch, my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. Anyway, because I've lost the watch charger. The watch charger I picked up from CX turns out it's not compatible with my watch. It's for Apple Watches only. My housemate, they very generously offered to buy me a Samsung watch charger, which I now have. But while I was there, I decided to pick up something. So I had a bit of extra money, so to speak, and I was looking around. Not really much was taking my fancy until I saw this, and this is the 4K release, individual non-super duper release of the second sight version of Dawn of the Dead. Now, I left the price on the sticker for a very specific reason. So it says 25 on there. I actually looked online while I was in the store walking around because I couldn't quite see this, kind of at the back of the store behind the counter. So I looked it up online. It's actually £28. When I went over to the checkout to ask for the watch charger, because that was behind the counter, and this was behind the counter, when he rang it up, because I had a £6 voucher, he asked for £27, which was a little odd to me. And he then said to me, I've gone ahead and knocked £3 off for you. So I've now taken that sticker off. That's the sole reason why I wanted to keep the price on there, to show that it was £25, and he sold it to me for £25, despite the fact that online said it was £28, which is very nice of him. So, Dawn of the Dead, and that classic quote, when there's no room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. So there you go. This is the first 3 discs are 4Ks. You get the theatrical cut, the extended cans cut, and the Argento cut, and then you get bonus features on the last disc, or special features on the last disc. Really nice little release, and I actually watched half the film last weekend, incidentally, and it looks gorgeous on 4K, which is really no surprise. I know that Second Sight do put a lot of care and attention into their releases. So yeah, that is Dawn of the Dead on 4K, and I'm glad to have that back into the collection, because I did actually end up selling my super duper Blu-ray Second Sight box set, but you can actually buy them on eBay for about £100, which, considering they were 70 brand new, isn't actually that bad of a thing, to be honest with you, and I'll probably be picking that up at some time. So, as you guys know, I like to talk to you about my escapades on Facebook Marketplace. So, I think as of this video, I'm going to make a vow to not, or try not to, as best my ability, buy anything off of Facebook Marketplace in the future, apart from some of the board game groups. Having said that, the rant I'm about to have is about some of the board game groups. Now, before I go any further, I do want to say, by and large, the board game community is absolutely fantastic. In fact, there was a story on one of them that I looked at, or read rather, the other day, in which 2 years ago someone's wife passed away, and they had to sell some of the games to fund for the wife's funeral and other bits and bobs. So people banded together and sent them a whole load of games. Well, it just so happens that one of those people was actually involved in the production of a, at the time, unknown board game. It later turned out that was the Elder Scrolls board game. And they basically got in touch with this individual and said, we'll send you a copy of Elder Scrolls. We'll send you a copy of Elder Scrolls down the road. It was the all-in bundle. It's the Kickstarter all-in bundle that he got for absolutely free. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. And he got that recently, and he posted a picture going, he had no idea that it was the all-in bundle. So that's just a tiny snippet of how generous and friendly and just amazing the board game community is. However, I will say I've come up across a couple of individuals that will remain nameless. One has been blocked by myself on the Facebook Marketplace. So case in point of them being an absolute exceptional community, actually somebody right now is holding on to a game for me that I'm going to be paying for at the end of this month. It's the all-in bundle for a game called The Great Wall, the Kickstarter all-in bundle, and somebody's holding on to it for me. I've paid my deposit and they're holding on to the game for me, and I'll be purchasing that game at the end of the month. I've just realised I need to double check Facebook Marketplace, or one of the board game groups, because he actually has just uploaded a load more pictures, and he's put Dawn of Madness on there again, but I thought he'd sold Dawn of Madness to me, so I'm a little confused and slightly concerned. So I'll double check that listing to make sure the Great Wall is not in that listing, because if it is, I'll politely ask him to remove it because obviously I'm going to be purchasing off him at the end of this month. So there was somebody on one of these groups that was selling Elden Ring. So the Elden Ring board game has literally just come out from Steam Forward Game. In fact, it's a pre-order on their website right now. And for anybody who's backed the game on Kickstarter, you're now getting your copies of the game as we speak, so to speak. Now, for a while, it was collection only. And then he switched it to postage. He was willing to post it. He had it for £275. Now, originally, he had it for £250, but he upped it to £275 to include the postage and packaging and the PayPal fees. So I messaged the individual and said, I'm interested in the game, but I don't have the money up front right now. I'm willing to pay a deposit, but I don't have the money up front. At the end of April, I get a lot more disposable income. I should be able to afford it then, but I don't have the money right now. He then got back to me and said, I don't usually do this, so I'll have a think about it and get back to you. So he got back to me while I was at work, and I responded to him when I can. His response was that he wants £100 up front when we first come to the agreement, so basically £100 deposit. He then wants another £100 at the end of March, and then the final £100 at the end of April. So I've already got my money tied up in this other game that I'm going to be buying, so I can't, with all due respect, go ahead and pay £100 towards Elden Ring as well. Just not in my budget, to be honest. But he upped. He wanted more if he was going to hold on to it for 2 months. He wanted £300 all in. But the main thing that he said in this that kind of made me think that's odd is any of these installments are non-refundable. So I actually clarified with him. I said, okay, let's clarify. Say that I pay the first £100 and then I pay the second £100 in March. And say in April, I then message you going, sorry, bud, something's come up. I'm going to have to back out. Does that mean you're not going to refund me the £200 that I've already paid you? And he goes, that's what non-refundable means. And I essentially said to him, you're essentially trying to scam me. Not being funny, but if I have to back out of the deal, you're £200 better off. I'm SOL at that point in time, you know. And he just simply said, it's the cost of this risk. He said, I've never done this before. I've never held on to a game for somebody. There's a lot of risk involved from my end, so I don't, you know. And I went, there's not a lot of risk involved on your end because you just don't send the game until it's paid up in full. I just felt the whole fact that he was kind of like, you don't get the money you've already paid into it if you pay it out. And I get the impression that he's selling the games that he's selling, because it's more than just that he's selling, because he needs the money. I get that he needs the money, but to try and swindle somebody seems a little bit odd to me. And the whole thing left a very, very sour taste in my mouth, I must say. So, yeah, wasn't too pleased with that. A little bit of an update, by the way, on Dawn of Madness, which I actually still have to my side. This Outer Worlds box is actually the miniatures box. So the main box actually has standees for each of the characters. And if you basically supported the base tier on Kickstarter, you automatically got the Outer Worlds box, which is the miniatures box. Whereas if you buy it, I was going to say if you buy it without that, but I don't think you could buy it without that. If you just bought the core box, you just get the standees. I was about to say if you buy it retail, but you can't buy it retail. Dimension Games have a bit of a thing against going to retail. Yeah, which is really weird. If you go to their websites, they're very anti-retail. It does feel that way. They're very anti-retail. They're very much like the cost of our games. If we went to retail, they would be astronomically expensive, so we're not prepared to go to retail. with any of our releases, which I don't understand it, because all of their boxes that they've released things in, so Deep Madness, Dawn of Madness, and I did have another game by them, I think, but I've forgotten which one it was. All of their boxes look like they'd look good on, you know, you look at this, that looked wonderful on a store shelf, but they seem very anti retail, to be honest. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, there will be a playthrough of at least one of the scenarios of Deep Madness probably this weekend. I have gone ahead and bought WWE 2K25, having a bunch of fun on that with Luke at the moment, and I did go ahead and pre-order / purchase Monster Hunter Wilds last week, and I'm having a mountain of fun with that. It's a really, really good game. The quality of life improvements for it over World and Rise is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to getting through the first part of the game, getting into high rank, and then, you know, going from there, basically. But yeah, I thought I'd do this little TFAC to do a little bit of a DVD, Blu-ray, 4K update, talk about some bits and bobs, yeah, and just give you a bit of an update. But until next time, guys, please take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.